Hi, this is Dr. Ogren. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to get started in this simulation. Um, it's a bit complicated, to be honest, so I want to give you some clear pointers to start out with, and I hope that you really listen to me. So please watch these videos, use the resources, and get started with a strong foundation. So I'm going to walk you through how to get started. If you've read the material, above this video, there's some slides and information for you to go through. Um, but as I've experienced over many, many years with various simulations, I have a lot of students who, after reading the player's guide, they just open up the simulation and they start to play as if it was a game they were playing without reading any information about it. It can be overwhelming and really they don't know where to start. Honestly, the first time I looked at this simulation, that's how I felt until I backed up and did exactly what I'm asking you to do. So I'm going to give you the first few steps to help you see just kind of the path forward and how to get started, get kind of the lay of the land, see how to go through the game and how to participate in the simulation. So this is how you navigate the the simulation. So first of all, you want to read the player's guide. I know that is not something that will sound like you really want to do, but it's really important. I'm going to direct you where to go in the player's guide as well. And I'm going to go back and forth between the player's guide and some screenshots in this presentation. So um, all of everything I'm showing you is not in the player's guide. Some of it's just what you'll see in the simulation. So this player's guide is in Moodle. It's also in the simulation. You can just use it as an electronic copy. If you do that, then I would suggest that you have two screens open so you can use it while you're making the decisions you have to make in this simulation. I really recommend you printing it if that's something you have access to do, or to have it with you in a hard copy, because you will refer to it a lot. So, first of all, when you get started, I suggest you go to the player's guide, open it up, and go to the table of contents. There's this is where you're going to go to make decisions. So if you see this section right here on making decisions, go to page 17, and this is all really important information, just really super important. I don't know how to say that any more emphatically, because these are the decisions you will make each week for the organization. So please take the time to read the whole guide and then mark the section for 17 to 33. So, you know, when we end the simulation and I ask for feedback, what I will frequently hear, the most common thing I will hear, is that tips from students that said, I should have started with reading the player's guide to make sure I read it all and understood the implications of the decisions that we're going to make in each round. So my suggestion is start here with the table of contents with making decisions. So we're going to be at 17. So the overall, and this is what you'll see in the whole section on decisions. And I'm going to start with the actual screens of the simulation now. So this is your corporate lobby. Okay. So what you're doing with a group of 2 to 3 other people is they're your co-managers of this multinational organization, and in this experience, you will make decisions to grow the company, and each round represents 1 year. Each week, you'll go through 1 round of decisions, and that represents 1 year. So by the end of this particular course, depending the format of your course, you'll go through many years of decisions anyway. And each of you as a group are competing against another group within the class, basically to do well. So this is a screen of the corporate lobby. This is where you start, and it's where everything just kind of gives you this overview, if you will. So, this is a decision entry screen. All right, so you can see here that you have these different decisions over here on the far left that's in blue. And these are, I'm going to walk through what these screens are, and then I'm going to come back and focus on a couple that are key so when you get started. So you start with compensation and training, and you'll make some decisions for your employees, what they're paid and what their benefits are. Branded production is the second option here. This is production focused specifically. What are you producing and how much are you paying for what you're producing? This is a footwear company, by the way. You have production facilities and what you're making in each place. Distribution and warehousing costs and decisions. You have internet marketing decisions that you make. You have wholesale marketing decisions that you will make. Private label operations is some options that you have. Paying for celebrity endorsements are options. Corporate citizenship, social responsibility, what are you doing with recycle, etc., those kind of CSR initiatives, and then finance and cash flow. So you'll have all these decision strings. All of the information for each of those sections start on that page 17 in the table of contents. So you can go through and it will walk you through your guide on every decision that you have to make on these screens and share the implications of the decisions. So now I'm going to go back to compensation trading. I'm going to give you an idea of how to start, and then you'll follow the same process for each of the screens. And if you're just trying to figure out, like, how do we navigate this? How do we do what we're going to do? So again, I can't emphasize enough importance. Take the time to go through this process and don't just jump in. I promise you the time you take here at the beginning, the better off you'll be in the long run. So let me just show you how this works when you're looking at compensation and training. So the first time you visit a decision entry page, which are these pages we just went through, you will take the time to explore and digest all the information on the screen. It can look overwhelming, but just step through it and think, what is this telling me? So I know, so this screen on this decision screen, the information at the top is your prior year information. So you're going to start in year 11. So you've got 10 years of history before you ever start the simulation, and year 10 is the information you're going to see here, where you're at the end of year 10. And so here at the top, that is what you already did. And then here in the blue, in this middle section, are the decision. This is where you make decisions when it's in blue. So you can see here that you have a North American facility, and this is Asian facility. They cut off a little bit, sorry about that, but you've got a Europe Africa facility where you have not opened a production facility there, so you do not have a facility there. You will be able to make a decision as you continue if you want to open one there or not. But at the beginning of the game, you don't have any production facilities in either of those. There's two different locations in Latin America or the Europe Africa facility. So the reason they're here is, like I said, you could choose to build as a team to build a facility, and if you do that, you'd be opened up. Those would be opened up for you to change the information, and they'll be not grayed out. but right now you only have a facility in North America and Asia Pacific. So when you start looking at this, you can see that as you read down and you start, so we're on page 18. It's in the workbook, by the way. It says workforce compensation training, and it tells you the 6 different types of entries you will make on this decision entry. So number 1 is how much to raise or lower the base pay. So this is that middle section, North American facility. It defaults at a plus 1% for any kind of wage increase for the next year, but you can see you can decrease or increase the percentages of compensation for your employees, and you should do it with a strategy in mind. What are you trying to accomplish? So whether you're going to raise or lower the incentive pay is the next box here. And then fringe benefits, you can decide what benefits to offer or stop offering. And all of those are your choices. One of the things before you actually made your decision as a team is that you really want to talk about what strategy are you going to employ as you move forward. We will be talking in the in Strategic Management 4803 class before you about the type of differentiators. For example, what kind of company do you want to be? What kind of competitive approach do you want? And so if we have not gotten to some of that information in your strategic management book, then you might think, oh, go back and or ask me, and I can direct you to certain areas in the book to say, okay, from a strategic high level decision-making space, what do we want to accomplish, and how do we want to pay our employees, etc. So you're going to start out the class on week 2 and 3. You're going to do 2 practice rounds. At the end of week 3, all that data will be gone, and you'll start over with week 11. But you get 2 weeks to kind of practice. By the time you really start the rounds, you're in week 4 of the course, and you'll start be thinking about a strategy at that point. And we will have gone through a few chapters in strategic management to get you there. You're just kind of making some decisions. So if you want to differentiate yourself, as example, and you're going to sell higher end products than other people, then maybe you need to pay workers better because they have higher level skills and they bring more to the table. And if you're going to be someone that's competing in a really broad space like Walmart, then you might kind of mindset, then you might want to pay lower wages. So the decisions you make have to align to the strategy of the company, and we'll work through that in the first few weeks as well. My suggestion is always that you change in small amounts at the beginning so you can get a feel for how it's going to impact your performance and not just make a random big decision as you move forward. So they added 1% as the default, and so over here you can see what you're going to be measured on. And all right, so remember we have 5 measures that our investors have asked us to hit, and they are over here: earnings per share, return on equity, credit rating, image rating, and then also the stock price. And stock price is a factor of several things, so you'll have to go through and it'll all be figured indirectly. But as you read the player's guide, you'll learn that what things do impact the stock price. You'll also be able to see what your net revenues are and your net profit and cash. So when we go through and you decide to see, if I go back for a minute, can I go back? Well, the slide that you just saw, the net profit was $45,682. Now you can see that our earnings per share went from 28 when I changed this to 12% base pay from 1%. It increased it to 19%, the return on equity. So your earnings per share changed as well. So let's make a couple changes, see what happens to our numbers. So let's say that we're going the base pay by 12. You see this here, that's what I just talked through, and our net profit went down. Well, that's because all things being equal, raising our price that much is going to impact the bottom line, but our quantity, but we're not even talking about how much our market share is and what our sales are. All we did right now was increase the amount of money we're paying our employees. So we haven't gotten to that other screen yet, but let's just say we don't want to give any sort of pay. You can see what that changes. If you say, no, I'm going to leave it flat, then you can come over here and see what your projections are based on the decisions you made. So when you can change something in blue, watch over here, and I would change one thing at a time until you get the mix that aligns to your strategy. You can go in and change your fringe benefits. You can change all of these kind of in training costs per worker, and these pieces of compensation and training. So I left that at 3%, and so you can see we're going to look at what it does. So it went down. It'll go down if I change that. I didn't change it yet, actually.